Meet the Huawei Mate 9, the manufacturer's latest big-screen phablet flagship. It's running the company's brand new processor, has a second-gen dual-camera Leica imaging system, and introduces the latest EMUI 5.0 based on Android Nougat. Those all sound like some really compelling reasons to check out the Mate 9 if you're in the market for a larger phone, but does it truly live up to all that promise? I'm Steven Shank with PhoneArena, bringing you the lowdown on where the phone shines and where it maybe needs a little work with my Huawei Mate 9 review. Phablets may be one of the most important segments of the smartphone market, but we don't see quite the same level of variety as we do with smaller phones. So when a new flagship class model like the Mate 9 comes around, we're paying close attention. Crafted with an aluminum unibody, the Mate 9 is one dense, compact phone for a handset with a 5.9-inch screen. Measuring in at 156.9mm tall, 78.9mm wide, and 7.9mm deep, the Mate 9's roughly the same size as the Apple iPhone 7 Plus. But while that model gets just a 5.5-inch display, Huawei manages to squeeze a big 5.9-inch panel into this phone. It pulls that off with some seriously slim side bezels, resulting in a handset with a face-filling screen. The handset's design is pretty traditional, with a headphone jack up top, USB Type-C port below, and a speedy, high-accuracy fingerprint scanner in the middle of the phone's back. While the look itself isn't too flashy, Huawei does manage to squeeze in a few extras here and there, like an infrared transmitter for using your phone as a universal remote. The 5.9-inch display is incredibly bright, which is a great benefit for users planning to take their Mate 9 outdoors a lot. It's among the brightest we've tested all year. And while that's great, it's a little unfortunate that Huawei decided to go with a 1080 by 1920 resolution, instead of something like Quad HD. It's not that the screen doesn't look quite nice, but a lot of the Mate 9's peers have gone the Quad HD route already, and a resolution bump would certainly help Huawei's phone feel all the more competitive. What it lacks in resolution though, it somewhat makes up for in custom controls, like the ability to dial in white balance to your liking. Huawei is introducing its latest Kirin 960 processor with the Mate 9, a high-performance octa-core chip. Don't let the fact that this isn't a familiar Qualcomm Snapdragon chip scare you off. It really feels like an extremely capable processor when you're using the phone, and the benchmark tests we ran show its performance right up there with the best anyone else is offering, sometimes even outdoing those other chips. The Mate 9 is equipped with 4GB of RAM, and while it might get by just fine with 3, we appreciate having that extra wiggle room. That's also true for the phablet storage, which gives us an upgrade from the Mate 8's 32GB with a new 64GB baseline level. That could be more than you need going in, but once you start accumulating some apps and shooting lots of 4K video, you're going to appreciate having all that space. And if things ever do get a little tight, the Mate 9's hybrid SIM tray accepts microSD cards for storage expansion. As we'd only expect from a late 2016 flagship, the Mate 9 runs Android 7 Nougat, here in the form of Huawei's latest Emotion UI skin, version 5.0. The interface builds on top of all the goodies Nougat bestows upon the phone, like split-screen app support, which is just great to use on a display this big, with a whole mess of customization options and machine learning functions. The former are easy to get started with right out of the box, and really let you tweak the look and feel of the UI to your liking, switching between things like using an app drawer for the launcher or just keeping your apps on the home screen. The latter promises optimized app performance, greater memory availability, and resistance against slow system degradation as files pile up and speed takes a hit. Those are more difficult to evaluate on the time frame we've been using the Mate 9 for, but given how well the other features work, we're optimistic. Phablets are known for their big batteries, and with a 4000 mAh component under the hood, the Mate 9 doesn't skimp in that department. We ran the Mate 9 in an average use situation with its screen continuously engaged, and clocked over 12 hours of screen on time before running the battery down. Your experience may vary, especially if you dial up screen brightness to its peak, but even not particularly conservative usage should still get a solid day of operation out of the phone's battery. Recharge times aren't the fastest we've ever seen, but given the size of the battery in question, the 2.5 hours it takes to reach 100% feels quite reasonable. Like Apple's iPhone 7, the Huawei Mate 9 pulls off stereo sound by combining the output from its main bottom edge speaker with the handset's front-facing earpiece. It's maybe not the best implementation ever, and we wish the output were a little more rich in bass tones, but it does sound pretty darn nice, and works well in concert with the phone's big screen for a rich video watching experience. If you'd rather keep your listening private, the Mate 9 comes with a set of earbuds. Again, much like the speakers, we've heard better ones, but these aren't too shabby either. The version of the Mate 9 we tested supports dual SIM cards, and the phone's compatibility with 20 LTE bands, as well as high-speed 600Mb Cat12 LTE, makes it well equipped to operate on networks the world around. Voice calls sound just fine, like you'd expect from a flagship like this, and really our only problem with them was that the Mate 9 just feels a little big to be holding to your face, though regular phablet users shouldn't mind at all. Maybe the biggest bell and/or whistle of the Mate 9's package is its primary dual camera, a second-gen Leica co-developed solution. It pairs a 20-megapixel black and white camera with a 12-megapixel full-color sensor, offers optical stabilization, and has a 4-mode hybrid autofocus. Combining the output from those two cameras, the Mate 9 should be capable of some impressive shots, even in low-light environments. And while we generally liked what we saw, it just doesn't blow us away in quite the same way that reading about all this camera tech suggests it should. Images tend to appear sharp, but a bit light, and not too heavy on color saturation. In a way, that helps them feel especially true to life, lacking the heavy processing and eye-popping colors of cameras on phones like the Google Pixel, and it puts the Mate 9 more in the same camp as the iPhone 7, or 7 Plus considering the dual cameras. Software might get in the way of the camera's potential a little, and while it offers plenty of shooting modes, really useful ones like HDR aren't more prominent and can't be combined with other modes like monochrome shooting. But really, these are some decent looking pictures the Mate 9 takes. Huawei just had us expecting a little more. Video recording supports up to 4K filming, but the lack of an option for digital stabilization puts more pressure on you to keep the phone steady. And while Huawei implements a directional audio capture system to make sure that the subject of your video is heard as well as they're seen, it can get in the way of behind the camera narration a little, and there's no apparent option to turn it off. All in all, the Mate 9 does a lot well. There are things we wish it did a little better, like tweaking the camera's software or picking up a higher res display, but from the speedy performance, to the buckets of storage space, to the all-day long battery life, and even the really well-done EMUI 5 interface, Huawei really delivers more hits than misses. And with pricing at €700, or 200 less than the iPhone 7 Plus in Europe, the Mate 9 makes for a very attractive option for shoppers looking for a big screen smartphone. I'm Stephen Shank with PhoneArena. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe for even more smartphone reviews on the way soon.